Hello everyone, it's Coach Kathy. Welcome back to my kitchen, and I'm actually in my workout clothes. I was flipping through YouTube and trying to find a few inspirational videos to listen to while I was doing my morning workout, and I came across one by Thomas DeLauer, who I've followed for years now, and it just stopped me in my tracks. I had to stop what I was doing and I had to come into my kitchen so we can talk about this because it's important. So we know, and we're learning more and more all the time, that processed foods are not good for us. Okay, that's not really groundbreaking or whatever. But it goes beyond like the red dye and the different things that are kind of hot topics in the news right now. Thomas released a video, and I'm going to link it down below. I'm not going to pretend to have done all of the scientific background work and take credit for this, but I just want you, my Coach Kathy followers, to part of my cat pack to be aware of these additives that are in foods that are seriously affecting people's health. So what we're talking about here is polysorbate 60, polysorbate 80, and to some degree also carrageenan. What these are additives that emulsify. That means that they take a liquid like water and they take a fat like oil that don't normally, we know water and oil don't mix. It's a chemical that when they're agitated together, they create it to be a shelf-stable thing. So this is going to be in things like salad dressings, cream-based products, and even fake cream products. So like your Cool Whips and your Ready Whips, and not real whipped cream, but your fake ones. And especially you girlies who are chugging on that International Delights coffee creamer. That has both in it. It's also in a lot of ice cream and kind of dairy products like that. It can be in some gelatin products. I checked my shelves and I've got all kinds of food here that we're going to go over that are often used in the diet world, if you will, and some that aren't. You're going to see a lot more of this if you just shop the inner perimeter of the grocery store and less on the outer, and you know I want you shopping on the outer. But let's get into the food. It's also worth noting too that these can be listed as E433 or E435 as ingredients, but most often you're going to see them as just polysorbate 60 or polysorbate 80. Interesting enough, these two chemicals are used in labs that test human products on rodents. It's not ethical to test everything on humans, so sometimes lab rats are the best things that we have. They will use both of these chemicals when they want to specifically on purpose disrupt the gut microbiome and actually cause leaky gut. So they know when they feed these to the lab animals that they are going to be putting holes into their digestive tract because it thins the mucosa lining, and that's exactly what it does with us. They know this through cadaver research. They've even seen it in utero and different things. But what it's going to do is it's going to affect that mucosal layer. So basically from the back of our throat all the way through our stomach and all the way through our small intestine and large intestine, we have a very, very good barrier of mucus, and that is there on purpose. It's our first line of defense against microbes and diseases and things breaking through that mucosal barrier and then entering our bloodstream. That is what we do not want. And for somebody like me who has MS, which some people are saying it could be linked to a leaky gut syndrome, other autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, colitis, lupus, we could go on and on and on about how the gut affects different areas of inflammatory diseases and autoimmune diseases. And just it even causes severe gut inflammation. So if you eat something like, oh, my stomach hurts after, and you think you have an allergy to that, it might be because you have an aversion to the chemicals that have been put in the food that you never should have been eating in the first place. I really, really, really hope that with this new data that's coming out, this is something that got put on the radar like in 2018, that we can study this further and get it the heck out of our foods. I did find it interesting too that some of these groceries that I'm looking at are American, some of them are Canadian, because I shop on both sides of the border. I'd love to know if these polysorbate 60 and 80 and the E433 and E435 are even in foods in other countries, because we know our Western standards tend to be a little bit lower. It's also found in things like chewing gum and baked goods and cakes and pastries and different things. Anything that you don't make from scratch, you need to be looking at your label. And when I say make from scratch, I don't mean opening up that Duncan Hines box and pouring it in and adding your own eggs and oil, because chances are it's also still in there. So as always, I preach this all the time. You have to read the labels. You need to know what you're eating. You need to know how much you're eating. You need to know the macros of everything. You know, this all matters. Absolutely cannot be unaware of what you're eating and also be successful on your weight loss journey, unless you're just not eating anything. So let's get into some foods. I went through in my kitchen. I know you kind of can't see here, but I just went through my cupboards and I went through my fridge, and I found products that have polysorbate 60 and 80 in them, and we're gonna get into it right now. So let's get into what it was in. So right away, Thomas mentioned in his video that it's in a lot of Kraft salad dressings. Kraft is probably the #1 most trusted brand, right? So in my kitchen, sometimes when I'm making my Asian peanut dipping sauce, I will just mix this Asian salad dressing with some PB2, the powdered peanut butter. If I'm being lazy and I don't want to go through, which I realize it doesn't even take that much longer, but this is what we do. We sacrifice health for convenience. I'll use this with a little bit of avocado mayonnaise, because I'm already trying to be conscious of my seed oils, and some powdered peanut butter. But this guy's gonna go right in the garbage because it absolutely has the polysorbate 60 in it and a bunch of other gross stuff. Also, Kraft Creamy Caesar. How many of you guys use this? Caesar salad dressing is incredibly easy to make from scratch. I have a video on this channel of how to do it. It tastes 10 times better than this, but this was on clearance for $1, so I thought, oh, in a pinch, I'll just grab that. No. My dad's favorite, Thousand Island. This is what Big Mac sauce is essentially, and so this again was on sale for $1, so I grabbed it because I thought, oh, if we're gonna do Big Mac pie or a low-carb Big Mac wrap or whatever, I'll be able to use that. No. My husband's gonna be very sad about this one, because here in Canada, we're big fans of Donairs, especially on the East Coast, and we love Donair sauce. This had the polysorbate 80 in it, so that is going bye-bye. Anybody who likes a quick little drizzle of chocolate syrup, this isn't sugar-free, this is the regular, but a lot of times I would just give a swish on the outside of my glass if I'm doing a frozen iced coffee or an ice cap from home, and making a high protein drink and putting all the good things in it. But the second I added this, even it didn't take hardly any, the study shown. It's not like you've got to drink 10 bottles of this to have the effects. The effects were, #1, they're immediate, and they are measurable. Just a little bit immediately upon ingestion and that making its way down through, they could see the inflammation happening and the thinning of that mucosal lining. So, you know, as good as this tastes, I can melt some chocolate in some coconut oil and a little bit of milk or cream and make my own, because this just isn't happening. This one broke my heart. And again, this is the one that's not quite as bad. This is carrageenan, not the polysorbate 60 or 80, but they're seeing that carrageenan does do some thinning still. Guys, it's in my pre-made Fairlife. This, I've drank this, I don't know how much over the past almost 4 years of my weight loss journey. And it's in here, and this needs to go. It is not worth it to me. It's not worth it to my MS and the inflammation that I'm having and really struggling with. So this is gonna go bye-bye for me, but it is worth noting what it isn't in is I didn't see it in any of the powder. This was Revolution Nutrition. It's not in Devotion, and it also wasn't in the ISO 100. These are also ones that I use all the time. It doesn't take that much longer to make my own protein shake, and it actually tastes better, especially if I'm using Joya milk or Fairlife milk that also has a higher protein content, so I can protein load, which when we're eating such a small amount of food, we need to get as much protein in there as we can. So I'm better off taking a 25 gram per scoop protein powder and then adding an 18-gram cup of milk to mix it with, and then I'm already gonna have more than my Fairlife did anyway. So let's talk about what it is in some gums, but it wasn't in these gums. And guys, I really encourage you, if you are a gum chewer, to look into using Pure. Pure is good for a few reasons. #1, it doesn't have the polysorbate 60, 80, or the E5 or E433 or E435. but it's also sweetened with xylitol. So full stop, listen, if you have dogs, one piece of this will kill your dog. You need to be very responsible as a pet owner to keep this away from your dogs. Don't be spitting it out on the ground when you're done. Make sure it goes into the garbage. However, a lot of study is showing now that xylitol is excellent at controlling leptin, ghrelin, and blood glucose levels. So just by, and it's even good for oral health, they're finding. It reduces caries in your mouth, it really helps fight against cavities. This is excellent for oral health. It's excellent for blood sugar control. And, you know, those are all very good things. It comes in lots of flavors. There's mint, there's cinnamon, there's even new fruity ones like watermelon. I've seen strawberry. I love the grape. I'm not sponsored by these, but these are something that we buy and use regularly. Just know they're safe because they don't have the polysorbate. But if you have a dog, please, please, please be careful and do your due diligence. Okay, moving on to what it's not in. It's also not found in my beloved Lily's sugar-free chocolate. That's great. And out of all the Kraft dressings that I did have in the house, this is probably my favorite anyway. I love Kraft Catalina, and it wasn't in it. So this is the only one that can stay for me. And even French dressing, Catalina dressing, they're very easy to make by yourselves. This is the point in the video where I'm going to tell you again, if you want to be successful long-term on your weight loss journey, you're going to have to learn how to cook a little bit. It's not hard. There's videos. I have a ton on my channel. There's tons of other channels that probably do it a lot better even than I do, but you've got to stop eating crap out of the middle of the grocery store, and with the exception of, like, you know, whole tomatoes and different things like that. But really, a little bit of effort is going to be required. You can't expect to remove 75 or 80% of your stomach, or if you had bypass or SATI, reroute your intestines and think you can keep eating the same crap and you're going to be successful, because you're not. So salad dressings are one of the easiest things that you can start DIYing, and your health is going to benefit immediately. So having said that though, the Kraft Catalina was okay. Now, I was really worried about these next few products because I use them a lot, and it's all the G Hughes and the Sweet Baby Ray's sugar-free. I checked the teriyaki sauce. I checked the sugar-free barbecue sauce. These were safe. They did not have any of the polysorbates in them or the E433s or whatever. The G Hughes sugar-free balsamic dressing, if you are not going to make it yourself or need that in a hurry, that was fine. None of the G Hughes sugar-free. I use the Cluckin' Chicken one. I use the Polynesian. These are ones that are like Chick-fil-A knockoffs. The sweet Thai chili, all of those were fine as far as that. Some of them do have seed oils though, which still cause inflammation, so you need to be careful. You need to decide how much, if you're gonna use 80-20 rule, if you're just gonna totally cut those out. But I will say with the polysorbate 60 and 80, 80-20 rule doesn't apply here. Here's another thing it's in Doritos, and it's in the cheesy coating of Kraft Dinner. So those are two things that I can absolutely let go and say goodbye to. Some of you might have a harder time with that. As for pre-made shakes, interestingly enough, the Alani didn't have it in it. So this had the carrageenan, this didn't have the carrageenan or any of the polysorbates. I don't actually like the flavor of this one as much, but again, I'm fine with never having either one of those. Again, the further out into this journey you are, the sooner you can start eating real, one ingredient, whole foods in their natural state, combine them together and make yourself healthy meals. You're going to be more successful. You're going to be helping your overall health, not just your weight loss too. So I can't encourage you enough to please start learning to cook a little bit. It doesn't need to be difficult. Pick a protein, pick a non-starchy side, season it with something that is tasty to you, and you're done. We don't need to have these elaborate gourmet meals all the time. They can be fast, they can be nutritious, they can be cheap. It's cheaper. Processed food, nothing is more expensive than these bars and shakes. And you know, I see you guys all the time excited about all this crap that's going on sale at Costco. And if you read the ingredients, an endocrinologist would never touch them. A gastroenterologist would never touch them. You shouldn't be touching them. Yes, they taste good. Yes, they might keep you in a caloric deficit, but at what cost? You know, what is your gut lining worth to you? What is your future self-worth that, you know, that maybe you could have avoided having certain inflammatory diseases for life, or being on the toilet all the time because you're so full of inflammation? Anyways, it's important to me because I suffer with this and I don't want you to. So back to the chocolate, this one was a yes. The sugar-free caramel swirly was a no. So if you still like to make your fancy proffies, like your protein coffees in the morning, use something that doesn't have the polysorbates in it. Instead of just dumping this over your coffee, just take the 2 seconds that it takes to mix this up with some milk and you're gonna be much better off. I know that was a lot. I know it was a little harsh. I know I'm passionate about this, but you guys, you know, I don't get paid to do this. I am learning as I'm going too, and I'm watching all the YouTubers, listening to the podcast, reading the books, because I know you don't have time to, but it is very important to me that we all be as healthy as we can be and still enjoy the foods that we love. It doesn't need to be either or. It doesn't need to, I need to be healthy or I need to enjoy my food. Those two things can coexist. But what cannot coexist is eating processed junk, never changing your diet, and expecting to get to your weight loss goal and maintain it. So I'm here doing the best I can on this channel to help you be successful and healthy. And so if you like this content, if you want to see more of it, please hit like, subscribe, and share. Share it. It's free. It costs nothing to share. Spread the word. Let people know that there's somebody like me who's out here helping post-op bariatrics or anybody on a weight loss journey be their best selves. And with that, we'll talk to you next time. Bye.